Alright, what's up you guys? Welcome to episode 2 of the Shark Archives, and today we're going to be looking at the 2004 PlayStation magazine. And what's mostly more important is that this particular magazine or issue covers on one of my beloved, most favorite franchises of all time, which is Mortal Kombat. Now, for a lot of you who are on my channel know that G.I. Joe is also, one of my favorite properties, but Mortal Kombat is also a very, I guess you could say, nostalgic property for me as well, and it basically goes hand in hand with G.I. Joe. So obviously throughout my channel it's going to be a lot of heavy 90s, 80s, but at the same time G.I. Joe and Mortal Kombat related properties. So the thing I really want to talk about in this video is just the important part of what Mortal Kombat Deception really means to me. And the thing about Mortal Kombat Deception is that there was a time back then where me and my best friend in the late summers of 2000 to 2004, we would have numerous sleepovers. We were diehard Mortal Kombat fans. So there was, after the success of Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, Mortal Kombat Deception, which was the second game after that on the PlayStation 2, it basically captured this very dark and mysterious vibe, and that's what I really love about Mortal Kombat. It has this lore, this very in-depth storytelling that, a lot of games don't really capture too much today, but Mortal Kombat had a very specific, special story that kind of made, fans intrigued into knowing the depth behind certain characters, the storylines, the endings, the intros, where did they come from, who are they? And so when Mortal Kombat Deception came out, there was this very, a lot was riding on it simply because after Deadly Alliance, where in the ending, there was a character named the Dragon King, aka Onaga, who was teased at the end of Raiden's ending. So that made me and my best friend go extremely wild because we didn't know what the future of Mortal Kombat would be, where the story was heading, what was happening, and finally this magazine came out, and this was actually a magazine that my friend had, and he knew that I loved Mortal Kombat. So I remember in 6th grade, he came to me and said, hey, I'm gonna give this to you because I know you love Mortal Kombat. So he gave it to me, and honestly, it's become one of my favorite magazines to read just because the cover itself contains freaking Sub-Zero in his brand new outfit, which was kind of already, Ninja Turtle Shredder inspired, but he's got the fur on the sides and stuff, and obviously, PlayStation magazine, world's best selling. So this is the PS2 version, and of course we're gonna world exclusive. So this is the reason why it's really exciting, is because the exclusive Mortal Kombat Deception behind the scenes and some more, never before seen footages pictures for the game. And honestly, it's just, I don't know what to say. There's so much memories going into this. So this is why Shark Archives will dive into a lot of the nostalgia of, these magazines, these strategy guides, and, just all these different materials that stores were giving out and stuff. So let's take a look inside this PlayStation magazine and see what Mortal Kombat Deception has to offer. I remember back then my friend and I traveled to North Carolina together, and we saw this blue samurai warrior, and we thought that was Sub-Zero, and I remember clearly we were in Walmart and he had a heart attack and he was just so excited, and I was like, bro, that's Samurai Warrior. So that was quite the story. But as we can see, the magazine does contain all these different games from that era of PlayStation, and there's just so much going on in here. But the main essence of this video is obviously going to be Mortal Kombat. So here we have, just cool things to look at, like Grand Theft Auto, Vice City, and all these cool things. And this is what I love about the eras of strategy guides and manuals, is simply because just there's so much stuff to read, and it made you so excited when the internet wasn't like the biggest or greatest thing in the world at that time. So here we go, Mortal Kombat Deception. Your world exclusive first look at the biggest, baddest MK ever starts now. So we have the traditional Mortal Kombat logo, only on PlayStation magazine first look. And of course we have the same Sub-Zero from the cover. And the outfit you know, this is one of the reasons why I loved Mortal Kombat, simply because they weren't afraid to keep changing the designs of costumes of beloved characters. Now, obviously, some may sucked and some weren't the best, but it really made you kind of say, okay, this is the next game, because not every character always looked, you know, the same. But the only thing you can kind of grasp from it is that the colors were always the same of the ninjas, unlike newer games now. But you can see he had all this cool metal mesh right going on right here, the ice ball, and then the cool little armor pieces. So they weren't afraid to really update them with all these cool different armors and pieces. So, of course, so here we have the first look. We have Sub-Zero and Melina. Now, here's the funny part. So, you know, it gives you the bio, which I won't get into, but as a kid, I remember I was like, why the hell is Sub-Zero freaking bald with a ponytail? It's the freaking second page of the magazine, and you're already screwing yourself over with giving you an alternate costume of Sub-Zero. That's not what I want to see. What the hell was that? That was like the dumbest decision ever, but nonetheless, at least we knew there was an alternate costume. So kind of basically talks about the continuation after Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, which is my favorite Mortal Kombat game. So we're going into his new darker realm, continuing the storyline. So that was page 1 and 2. So of course, you know, again, we have more information here, which I'm not reading, but looking at the photos, which was really awesome, we knew Scorpion and a new character named Hotaru was coming in. So the cool thing about this was that they were informing you that the levels now have this interactive mode where you can pick up weapons, you can slam your opponents through walls and break glass and basically go to lower levels of different things, which wasn't new to Mortal Kombat, but it was genius at its time, because now it's like, you know, there's things to do in the levels where you can pick up and throw stuff, which was, you know, kind of the breakaway from Mortal Kombat 4, which was awesome. So like I said, you know, we got background weapons, you know, some little humor down here, and of course, you know, giving you an idea of what you can do. You pick up the weapon, slice your opponent there, and then we got this cool Baraka artwork right there, which is cool. Now we get introduced to more characters like Sindel versus Melina. We have Ermac and Baraka, which was awesome. So Ermac is another really cool character, so I love this ninja design right there. Awesome. And then we have Nightwolf and Hotaru, again, picking up the same weapon. We have Sindel right there, Sindel artwork. A giant render of Baraka, which was really cool. Now, if you guys don't remember the trailer of Mortal Kombat Deception, that was freaking dark and it was insane. And I remember being in 6th grade computer science class during internet-free research time. I would sit there on the computer Googling Mortal Kombat Deception like every single day, looking for leaks and rumors and character selection screens, which also leaked out at some point. And, you know, it was just amazing to see how far they've come. So we get introduced to a new character named Ashura. Now, unfortunately, I'm not going to go into the backstory of her, but she's not what she appears to be, and at first I just thought she was Raiden's daughter, Raiden's sister, something like that, because she had the very similar white look with the hat and, you know, the electric effects, but unfortunately it's just not the case. But we have Baraka versus Ashura. Down here, it basically gives you more in-depth of the levels, which I mentioned before, the interaction with levels. You can throw your opponents through walls, which enters into a different level, you know, seen in Mortal Kombat 3. We have Kenshi in an alternate costume fighting Melina or Li Mei. Yeah, that's Li Mei, I believe. Then again, we have Ponytail Sub-Zero. So this was a really, really cool level, and it's actually called the Sky Temple. So the really cool thing about this level is that you can really push your opponent off one level and then another level, and then the last level of the tower or the temple, he falls all the way down and splatters into many, many pieces. So really great addition to the game. And here we just have Ashura and Li Mei kind of just, you know, doing whatever. So yeah, so that was pretty cool. I mean, to see just how much Deception was a darker, like I said, it's a very dark game. It is one of the darkest Mortal Kombat games, simply because Raiden gets his ass kicked and then turns dark. So I'm not going to dive too deep into that, so if you haven't played it. Here we have finally Sub-Zero versus Baraka at the temple. And then of course, again going back to interactions, we have death traps, which is something really new and exciting into Deception. We can see here Sub-Zero fighting Ermac, so there's a red line kind of where you can stand right there. Once you put your opponent through that, you basically kick him. He falls into the grinder stops, and next you know it just continues and basically slaughters your opponent into all this blood splatter. So this is just one example of many in the game, so the fact that they gave you this type of interactions in the levels was just freaking brilliant, and I absolutely loved it. Again, giving you more examples of what the Slaughterhouse level is. We have a Melina render, which is really cool to see Melina come back, and of course Mortal Kombat over-sexualizing their characters, which was nothing new there. We get some artwork of levels, which just looks better to, you know, give you which character came from what level, which is awesome. Here's a good sneak peek of Noob Saibot, which was awesome because now he returned. And his storyline really developed in this game, which was really awesome. I loved how they kind of, because before he was just like the Black Ninja, but in this game they really dived into his backstory, which is great. And like I mentioned before, here we go, the long drop of the Sky Temple, where, you know, you start off here in the top, you kick your opponent down here, kick your opponent down here again, and then you kick them down to the death. So here we got an example, Sub-Zero kicking Ermac, falling, more falling, landing on top of their roof, and then, getting his ass kicked. So this is basically where the most fun, newest, inventive aspect of Mortal Kombat came from. Now, the previous Mortal Kombat Conquest was basically, you know, following a Shaolin monk as he went through different terrains, and you know, it gave you like a backstory, kind of like text on the top corner, and you kind of just watched it, and then you go through like, I don't know, 20 levels of each character, learning their moves and stuff. But here, in this Conquest mode, which is something brand new, this was an open world Conquest where you play as a character named Shujinko, who is a brand new character in the game, and his storyline was very sad and unfortunate, which I'm not going to dive into. But you start off in so many different, you start off in Earthrealm, and then you basically wander off into all the other realms to collect the 6 Kamidogus, as Shujinko is guided by a spiritual essence named Damashi. One of the really coolest parts about this game is just seeing how, you know, you can talk to characters, you can see special Mortal Kombat characters appear in different areas, which was very amazing at the time, because you can be wandering in Earthrealm and suddenly stumble upon like Bo Raicho or Sub-Zero or even Liu Kang, Jax, Sonya Blade, and you're just like, holy shit, like I want to go talk to them. And it was just very awesome and inventive. And of course, time can fly by in this game, and very great job. So here we can see the intro of Conquest, and here we see some, you know, dialogues between Bo Raicho and Shujinko, which basically is the beginning right before you start your training and stuff and learning your moves and whatever. So the cool thing about this Conquest is that it takes place after the Great Kung Lao has lost the tournament to Goro, and now Shang Tsung is part of it. So Shujinko wants to become the new Mortal Kombat champion, but unfortunately his path was written for something else, which was, you know, I won't dive into, but and if you want, you can see the Conquest gameplay I did on my Shark Plays, which was cool. So here we are at the Nether Belly, which was a ship, and here we have a full render of Sub-Zero in his Shredder outfit, looking really cool. And again, more interactions into the levels, where if you go too close to the corners, you can have people kind of grab you. Now, I don't think this is part of the level. They must have taken it out, because in the actual game, this is used in a different level, so it's not in the actual ship. Here we get cool like 3D render designs of what the level is, and this is what I loved looking at, just the concept. I wanted to work at Midway Studios, which is now shut down, and turn into NetherRealm Studios, but I wanted to work at Midway, be a part of the Mortal Kombat team, and we can just see how big the levels are, how much stuff you can do. And like I said, more interactions. You're gonna have like dead bodies that are hung on the ceiling. They're kind of flying around. You can just kick them into your opponent, which is really cool. So this is what I was talking about. You start off at the top of the bridge, or the boat, I mean, the ship. You kick your opponent off, and then you fly down into the lower half of the ship, which is cool. And then, of course, I loved, and as an artist myself, I just loved looking at all this cool stuff right there. So that's one of my favorite things to do as a kid, just looking at sketches and stuff. So that was a really cool look at it. So here's another really awesome newest addition to the Mortal Kombat universe, which was chess combat. Basic premise is you're just playing chess, and your characters are the pawns, and you're basically just playing chess. But once you go for the actual spot on the board, it goes into a 2-on-2 fight. So that was very inventive, pretty cool. So, and each character has like a special unique attack, like a sorcerer and a magician or something. I don't remember, something like that, but they're like spellcaster. So that's really cool. We got more side games, which was puzzle combat. So if you're somebody who's a big fan of Tetris, this was something you can enjoy. I've had fun with this. We've had a lot of sleepovers with my friend and his sister, and we're just constantly doing non-stop puzzle combat, and it's just like to see who can, just play it better. So that's one of the coolest things ever. So unlike Armageddon, where you get motor combat, which we'll get into later, but we have chess combat, and then we have puzzle combat, which was a really cool addition to the games and stuff, and it just talks more about it. And here we have Ed Boon, creator of Mortal Kombat. So as you guys know, John Tobias, who's also the co-creator of Mortal Kombat, or was, he left Mortal Kombat after, I believe, Mortal Kombat 4 or Mythology Sub-Zero. So Ed Boon took over, and the whole storyline of Mortal Kombat shifted. So honestly, it really did lose a lot of its darkness, which is very unfortunate, but I give him credit for the layouts that he did for Deadly Alliance, Deception, and Armageddon, which was the game that came after this. So this is basically an interview with Ed Boon talking about the future of the franchise, where Deception was heading after Deadly Alliance, and what we can expect, and just all this crazy just spoilers and stuff about the game and whatever. So yeah, I'm not going to get into that, but either way, I think that's basically it. And yeah, that's it. So the rest of the magazine obviously just has a bunch of other games and stuff that we probably know and love, and nothing else to it other than just a bunch of other things. So yeah, that basically concludes the PlayStation Magazine Mortal Kombat Deception for the PlayStation 2. As I mentioned before, this was a very nostalgic part of my childhood, because Mortal Kombat has always been my favorite fighting game franchise. And to be in a world where there was no internet, well, I mean, there was internet, but not as popular as it is now, and you're constantly digging through websites trying to find like what characters are in this game, where's the roster leak, what are the costumes, what's the storyline, what's the Dragon King gonna do, who is Onaga, all these just amazing character selections and the darkness that the games have offered. It's just this is where it kind of the high peak of Mortal Kombat, because right when you get to Armageddon, it kind of drops a little, and then you're just like, okay, whatever. But for me personally, this was Mortal Kombat. So not much else to say other than just the memory of being in class, and my friend taking this out of his book bag and giving it to me was like a really awesome gift. And I don't know, it's just very nostalgic. And just, I remember coming home, I did pre-order this game, so I remember going to GameStop or EB Games in my mall, and picking it up, coming home straight from school, playing it every single day until I beat Conquest Mode, which was like a whole hours of fun and just a lot of tedious anger and control slamming. But that's what Mortal Kombat is, because the AI is bullshit. Nonetheless, a very, very awesome trip down memory lane. I loved looking at this magazine. It's just very exciting. So I hope you guys really did enjoy this little brief look through at the magazine and enjoyed the storytelling, because that's what Shark Archives is just looking at these cool little things that I've picked up over the years of different collections and stuff. So this episode obviously goes into Mortal Kombat. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Thanks for watching. Be sure to give a like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next episode.